a ton of value in current Underdog Playoff Best Ball ADP. Elite offenses like the Bills are easy to stack. Take advantage of uncertainty and start drafting now. Use the promo code SEEK for up to $100 match on your first deposit. And subscribe to Heat Seeker Sports on YouTube for Underdog strategy and drafting shows. Hey, what's up, guys? Simon Edwards at Pumacom here with Heat Seeker Sports, and you're watching the Underdog Playoff Best Ball show. Today, I'm joined by Bob Gomes, a buddy of mine. He's over at RG. He does a ton of content for Roto Grinders right now. He's going to be joining me to talk about the Week 18 matchups. We're going to do kind of what I did with Spread the other day and what I did myself a few days ago. We'll go over Bob's thoughts on the Week 18 outlook and kind of see which teams end up in the first round of the playoffs from there. And then we'll build a path to the Super Bowl and find out which teams Bob might like going into the Super Bowl. Before we do that, make sure to hit like on this video. I'm looking for 15 likes to put out some shorter videos a little bit later on, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing a bunch of this playoff best ball content, but also covering all the individual matchups that we have going on Saturday. Got a couple games on Saturday. I'll be doing game script shows for those in addition to a 2-game slate show. So you're going to want to check those out. Last week, if you watched, ended up hitting on Bo Melton, of all people, on that Green Bay show. So you're going to want to definitely subscribe so you can get alerts when those shows pop up. And on top of that, I'm running a promotion right now with Underdog, where if you use the promo code SEEK, SEEK, on your first deposit, they're going to match you up to $100 on your first deposit for a new account. And you're going to want to do that because if you hit me up on Twitter with a DM after that, I'm going to send you my playoff best ball rankings for Underdog. So make sure to use the promo code SEEK. When you do it and you enter the promo code, you got to do it manually because they have a default promo code that goes in there. So make sure you get SEEK in there to get me the credit for it. And then hit me up on Twitter, and I'll hook you up with my rankings. And Bob, what's going on, man? How's everything been going for you?
Going well. Wrapping up this end of NFL week set. All these weeks just flew by. So excited to basically break everything down with you. Unfortunate this season's over, though. Not too happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, at least we get the playoffs, though. Like the playoff, showdowns and small slates are pretty fun to do too. And then we got playoff best ball, so at least we get to go out with a bang with NFL. Bob's been on a little bit of a roll recently with NFL and NBA, and his content over there on Roto Grinders. Bob, which shows are you doing these days?
I'm on the flagship, and then I have tournament takes. Then I have like written content throughout the week. So there's a bunch of stuff over on RG that I'm doing.
Good stuff. Yeah. So good stuff there with Bob. I'm going to call up the screen here, and we can jump right into doing this breakdown of these Week 18 matchups. Bob, the first game that we have here is Pittsburgh versus Baltimore. It's a game with implications for Pittsburgh because if they win this game, then I believe they just about, they need Buffalo to lose, and then I think they can make it into the playoffs. I think that if Buffalo loses and Pittsburgh wins, Pittsburgh's in the playoffs, which would suck because that would mean Buffalo is pretty much out of the playoffs, barring any other, weird circumstances. But Bob, what's your thoughts here on Pittsburgh versus Baltimore, taking into account that Baltimore looks like they're going to be resting their starters this week?
Yeah, I think there is opportunity for Pittsburgh, obviously. If you're from Baltimore's perspective, you'd rather not see Buffalo in the playoffs, right? So maybe they take it a little easier. Baltimore looks like a team of destiny at this point, so maybe they're just trying to cultivate their path. Maybe Pittsburgh does get the win here, and then obviously pretty tough matchup for Buffalo versus Miami. So yeah, it's going to be interesting in how that goes down.
What do you think for the outcome of that game if Buffalo playing in Miami. Miami just lost Bradley Chubb. They're a little banged up with Tua has a shoulder injury, and then Waddle's been dealing with an ankle injury. But Buffalo seems to be pretty healthy going into this game, apart from the guys that they lost earlier in the season. But what's your outlook for that game? Like, which team would you like in that game?
For me, I think it's I think Miami's going to pull this one out versus Buffalo. I just think they get this second game. It's in Miami. Buffalo just, for whatever reason, just can't get it together. It seemed like they were getting hot late in the year. They should have lost to the Patriots last week, or they played a game where they could have lost. So,
yeah,
for me, I think the Bills are going to let us down here. I don't know. I think you're probably on the other side, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I got a pretty big lean on Buffalo just because I was drafting them at value earlier, and so if they got out, it would suck for me. Like, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with them because I'm kind of the same mindset as you, especially recently hearing the, like McDermott. They were in a Zoom meeting with reporters, and somebody asked about Steph Diggs' snap counts, and they ended up cutting off the Zoom call. The PR ended up cutting off the Zoom call. So there's some weird stuff going on there with Steph Diggs, which you don't want to see if you got an investment in Buffalo in this game. But yeah, just some weird stuff there. And you're right. It's kind of a team that's been disappointing throughout the season, and it would make sense if they put a bow on it with a loss in Week 18 that knocks them out of the playoffs to Pittsburgh of all teams.
Yeah.
Houston versus Indy is another game with implications. The winner of this game, if Jacksonville loses, would win the AFC South. I like Houston's momentum. What do you think of Houston versus Indy? They're playing in Indy this week.
Yeah, I like Houston. I'm on the Houston side. Definitely think Houston can be a team that causes some issues for higher seeds in the playoffs, or can make a run for that matter. So, yeah, interested in getting to some Houston.
Okay. We got Jacksonville versus Tennessee. And this is a game, another game with playoff implications for Jacksonville. If Jacksonville loses, I think they would get knocked out or knocked way down. I think they actually get knocked out if they end up losing to Tennessee, but they're playing in Tennessee. Not really sure who the quarterback's going to be yet, but DeAndre Hopkins has a whole bunch of incentives in this game if he has a big game. So what's your lean on this game here?
So my lean for this situation would be Jacksonville gets the win, but Jacksonville's another team like Buffalo where they're pretty banged up. It's been kind of a rough go, so I could see it going either way, but I think they pull it off here on this divisional matchup.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm with you on that. I think they can pull it off versus Tennessee for sure. Jets versus Patriots, that game doesn't matter. Cleveland versus Cincy doesn't matter either because Cleveland pretty much has it locked in at number 5 seed. Next game with playoff implications is Atlanta at New Orleans. And this is an interesting one on the NFC side because the winner of this game has the potential to get in the playoffs if Green Bay loses and Seattle loses, but also actually Saints have a way to get in if Green Bay and Seattle lose. But if Tampa Bay loses, then the winner of this game will win the NFC, the NFC South. So Atlanta, believe it or not, is still live to potentially win the South. What do you think for the outcome of this game?
I like Atlanta. I like the Atlanta side.
Okay. So let's put Atlanta there. Tampa Bay versus Carolina, divisional game. Tampa Bay needs to win this game in order to clinch that division. All they got to do is they beat Carolina, and They're division champions. So what do you think the outcome would be for this matchup?
I think they beat Tampa. I think Tampa beats Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty sure one. It'd be tough. I mean, tough to lose it, but they are playing in Carolina, so that's the only thing that I give Carolina. Carolina's literally got nothing to lose because they can't gain anything in the, like in the draft picks or anything like that. They don't have a first round pick, so it's literally like no incentive to lose, no incentive to win. I mean, they got nothing to lose basically, so it's an interesting game there. We got Minnesota at Detroit. This one I think is more relevant for Detroit. Detroit can still win that number 2 seed and have a better home field advantage if they win this game. And I think Philly and Dallas both need to lose. But what are your thoughts here on Detroit?
I like Detroit in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So we got Detroit. Next matchup, another one with playoff implications. Green Bay needs to win this game to get the number 7 seed. I think all they need to do is win it to get that number 7 seed. And they're playing at home versus Chicago. And Chicago is a team that has been playing well recently. The coach just secured his job for next season. The Chicago fans want Justin Fields back. Justin Fields has incentive to win this game, and Chicago already has the number 1 pick locked in. They got really nothing to lose by winning this game. So what are your thoughts here on Chicago versus Green Bay, given the history between these two teams in the same division and the Aaron Rodgers, we own you to Chicago history that they got there?
Oh, sorry. I was on mute. I think Chicago pulls this one out. I'm gonna go Chicago. My kid was crying in the background. So
yeah, no worries. Okay, so I'll put Chicago there. As you can see, that knocks Green Bay out, but that's going to be dependent on the Seattle versus Arizona matchup. Seattle versus Arizona, playing in Arizona. Arizona just had a big win last week against the Eagles, and now they play the Seahawks. Arizona's had a few big wins like that throughout the season, so not a team to underestimate, and they're division opponents of Seattle. So what do you think the outcome for this Seattle versus Cardinals game? And Seattle needs a win to keep their playoff hopes alive.
I'm gonna go Seattle versus Arizona. I think Seattle wins this one.
Yeah, I think you're right. All right, next game, we got the Rams at San Francisco. Looks like San Francisco is probably going to rest their starters. They got nothing to lose in this one. They're nothing to gain in this one, I should say. They are clinched the number 1 seed, so they are secure in their playoff spot. But the Rams, I think they can drop down to 7 with a loss. But yeah, the Rams are resting Matthew Stafford this week. I believe it's going to be Carson Wentz. Maybe they don't really have. Let me check and see what happens. If they lose, I don't think it impacts them. So maybe not really a game we need to cover. But who do you think wins between the Rams and the 49ers here?
I'm gonna go Rams.
Yeah, I like the Rams too. Philly versus the Giants. Philly still has an opportunity to win the NFC East. They need to beat the Giants. They need Dallas to lose. What are your thoughts here on Philly versus Giants?
We will go Philly. The Giants are just pathetic at this point, so I like Philly.
Okay. So Dallas versus Washington. Dallas needs to win this game to clinch the division. Philly, even if Philly wins, they need Dallas to lose still. So Dallas is in the driver's seat versus Washington, a division opponent. They're playing in Washington. What are your thoughts in this game?
I don't see Dallas losing to Washington. I'm going to go Dallas.
Okay. So we got Dallas. That knocks them back into that number 2 seed. Kansas City versus the Chargers. This one does not have any implications. Denver versus Raiders. I don't believe that one has any implications either. Yeah. So those ones don't matter. So the way that we have it mapped out with Bob's picks here are Pittsburgh would face number 7 Pittsburgh versus number 2 Miami. We got number 6 Houston versus number 3 Kansas City. Number 5 Cleveland versus number 4 Jacksonville. On the NFC side, we have number 7 Seattle versus number 2 Dallas. We'd have the Rams at number 6 versus number 3 Lions. And then we'd have number 5 Eagles versus number 4 Bucks. So out of these matchups, which teams do you think would have the most likelihood of advancing to the next round, Bob, based on what you see here?
Yeah, I'm going to go Miami. I'm going to go Houston. And I'm going to go Cleveland.
Miami, Houston.
For the
Cleveland.
AFC.
Yeah. I like that.
For the NFC, wow. I'm going to go Dallas. I'll go, Detroit and the Rams is a difficult one.
Yeah.
I'm going to go the Rams. I just think the coaching's better. I can see that being the upset. And then the Eagles.
Okay. That's pretty much exactly what I have laid out too. So that would set us up in the next round. We'd have Baltimore versus Houston, and we'd have Miami versus Cleveland in that scenario, which is an interesting one.
It would be Baltimore and Miami for me in the AFC.
Baltimore versus Miami. Yeah, that's exactly how I have it in the AFC so far. Who do you like in that NFC?
NFC, I'm probably going to go San Fran. Doesn't really. Who would they be playing? I don't think it really matters. They're playing the Eagles. I think they beat the Eagles in that rematch of last year's playoffs.
Yeah,
and then I'd go the Rams over Dallas. The Rams over Dallas.
Let's see, Rams over Dallas. Oh, we actually let's see. I think the Rams would be facing off against San Francisco in that scenario. It'd be Rams versus San Francisco, and then
they'd lose. I see them losing to San Fran.
Yeah.
And who would the Eagles be playing? The Rams.
Dallas. Yeah, Dallas.
Oh, I'll go. I'll go the Eagles there.
Yeah, that's kind of how I have it laid out too. So we'd have San Francisco versus Philadelphia, and I think we're both picking San Francisco in that game, right, Bob?
Yep.
Okay. And as far as Baltimore, Miami, who do you like in that game?
I'd go Baltimore.
Baltimore. So yeah, basically we'd have two number 1 seeds facing off in the Super Bowl at that point. So if you want to stack a team like this, we're going for guys that have first round buys for the most part in our drafting in order to get as many Super Bowl players advancing into that final round as possible. So it's going to be it would be a very tricky situation to do that. We'd have to find a lot of first round value in order to stack 2 teams that are getting first round buys. So we'd have to target a lot of these teams later. So this is where it gets interesting, where we have to try to find, like the cheap teams that we think are going to advance the furthest. And that's where, Cleveland comes into play. Bob likes Houston advancing into that second round. You can get Houston for free, basically. Like Houston is dirt cheap. Like you still see CJ Stroud going undrafted, basically. And Nico Collins, same thing. So Houston might be an interesting guy to target, Bob, if we're projecting Houston to go into that divisional round of the playoffs here.
Yeah, I like Houston a good bit. I like Stroud. Obviously, like Nico.
Yeah, I like all those players too. Bob and I are pretty much synced up with the sneaky teams that we think can get pretty far in these playoffs. I have Buffalo advancing. I think Buffalo could potentially make a Super Bowl run. It's going to kind of depend on what that situation with Steph Diggs. I was a lot higher on that scenario until I found out about that press conference the other day. But like Buffalo, still got a shot. I think that if Buffalo was going to make a run, this year would make actually more sense than the past couple years, because the toughest teams in the AFC in the past were Cincinnati, who is eliminated, and you had Kansas City, who is the bane of Buffalo's existence. But Kansas City is a shell of itself, former self right now. All they got is a defense going for them. So they're going to be a quick out, I think, in the playoffs. Saying that could bite me in the ass, but I really don't believe in the Chiefs this year. And then Baltimore is the team to beat right now. But we've seen Buffalo. We've seen Baltimore in this situation in the past where they were favorites to advance pretty far in the playoffs, and then they get eliminated by a team like the Titans or something like that, So anything can happen with Baltimore, but they are in good position to make a nice run. I think based off of how their offense performed this year, the changes that they made in the offense, adding in some actual weapons for Lamar Jackson, on top of swapping out that offensive coordinator to Munkin. So they're in a good spot, I think, to advance. And it makes a lot of sense to have a couple number one seeds advance, just like we did last year with the Eagles and the Chiefs. So, yeah, Bob, let's get into a draft here and kind of see if we can implement any of that stuff that we were just talking about as far as the value and stuff like that. Going to jump into the gauntlet here. I'll give you a 3 count, Bob, and then we can jump in. I just
what about the big mitten? Is it the big mitten or what's the correct one? The gauntlet it is.
Gauntlet's the one that we want. That's the one that is $25 one. It's getting
Are you in yet?
Not yet. No. I'll give you a 3 count. Okay, I'm ready. If you want to go on the count of 3, 3, 2, 1, enter. See where we're at. Oh, drafting starts soon. What did you get?
It said it could not detect my location.
Oh, shit. All right. So it looks like okay. So I'll share my screen here.
Oh no.
Maybe we can take a look here.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good, man. No worries. We can draft the team together here. Let's see. All right. So I'm in the 4 spot right now. And in the 4 spot, like lately, Tyreek has been falling to that 4 spot. You can see from like the teams that Bob and I had advancing into that conference championship, that we both like Miami to get pretty far in this. And Miami's value has been dropping. Everybody's kind of been down on them lately. I'm not sure where it all came from. Maybe it was even before the Bradley Chubb injury and stuff like that. People are just down on Miami all of a sudden. But, they just got stomped by Baltimore. I think that plays a big role in it. And I'm just going to take advantage of the value on Miami right now, because I think that they're still live to make a decent playoff run. So I don't mind when Tyreek falls to me. I do like Debo. I do think I prefer Debo. I'm going to draft Debo here and hope that Tyreek falls to me in the next round, because I want to get that San Francisco exposure, because I think they're about as good odds as you can get to getting to the Super Bowl. What do you think there, Bob?
Yeah, for me, my thought process would be just to stack like as much San Fran as possible or Baltimore.
Yeah.
That would be the way I'd kind of go about it. Tyreek went 5, so he's not going to be there. Who do we have in terms of? I would probably go Purdy here.
Purdy? Yeah. Purdy makes a lot of sense to me too. Let me swap this over to who you can see from my player pool. Yeah, Purdy is my next guy like that I like. So I think I'm going to go Purdy too. That way we at least have the Debo Purdy stack going on. And I think now we can either try, like, hopefully Kittle will fall to us, but otherwise we're going to want to try to focus in on our AFC team that we want to stack along with the 49ers there. And my lean would be towards the Dolphins or the Bills, depending on which Bills are left there. But what would your lean be there, Bob?
I'd probably lean Dolphins.
Dolphins?
Yeah, I'd probably go Dolphins.
Yeah.
Would love to just get Kittle, though. I think Kittle would be ideal.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I like hearing this out of Bob because it's basically what a good portion of my teams look like with these San Francisco, Miami stacks. All right, there goes Kittle. So he's off the board. We're looking at right now, I think Mostert. Oh, go ahead, Bob. Yeah, I think
you're right. Mostert's the ideal pick.
Okay. So that will give us a good running back to potentially make it into the Super Bowl round. So I'll focus on him. And then I think we grab. Go ahead, Bob.
What if we went A-Chain instead?
A-Chain? If we go A-Chain, we can wait another round on him. We could grab a receiver here if we want to do that.
Who do we have for receivers currently?
Waddle would fit our Miami stack. So Waddle's ADP is 26 though. Mostert's is 19. I think we could probably grab Mostert.
My thought process was Yeah, I'd get Mostert.
Okay. So let's grab Mostert. Do you think we grab A-Chain or Waddle on the next round? I think we need probably need to get that receiver, but what do you think, Bob?
I would go A-Chain.
A-Chain?
Take the 2 running backs to be kind of differentiate yourself. Yeah, they cut into each other, but I don't know. Or Kyron.
I like Kyron a lot. Someone just took Waddle, so that's going to make our decision easier as far as A-Chain. And then at that point, we got Purdy. We got both the running backs. We're not going to get a complete stack because we weren't able to get one of those Miami receivers. But it also sets us up.
A-Chain or Kyron? What's your?
I think we want A-Chain.
Well, someone just took A-Chain.
Yeah, so Kyron's going to be an easy draft now that A-Chain's gone, or Diggs. But do we think that?
I would go Kyron.
Let's grab Kyron. Yeah. All right, so we got Kyron and Mostert. Debo is our only receiver right now, so I think we got to focus in on those Rams receivers on the next round. Who do you like more between Kupp and Puka?
I would probably prefer. I prefer Kupp, but seems like it's turning into Puka's show. So if you want him to go Puka, I wouldn't have an argument with it.
Okay, I lean with you on.
I was wondering if we should just. I wonder if we should just take a Baltimore receiver.
Yeah. Well, the thing with the Baltimore.
You want them to go to the Super Bowl, right? Like that's the end goal.
Yeah.
Kinda.
I think Baltimore makes it has a really good shot at making it to the Super Bowl. Baltimore, the next one is 46 at ADP with Beckham, and then likely is 35 ADP. So when we hit closer to 35, I think we can get one of the Puka versus Cooper Kupp on this next pick, and then maybe the next one we grab one of those Baltimore guys. Just because right now we don't have any receivers that are playing in week 1. So that's got me a little bit wanting to draft unless we think that we have like a really good.
Sure. No, we can go Kupp.
Okay, let's go Kupp here.
We can go
And then,
Cup.
yeah, Cup. I'm with you on Cup. I think Cup over Puka. And then I think this next one we can grab Likely. Does that work for you?
I like Likely or Odell. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Either or for me.
Okay, so Likely is in my queue right now. Team so far, we're looking at Brock Purdy, Raheem Mostert, and Kyron Williams. We got Cooper Kupp. We got Debo. And we're about to try to pick up Likely. So at some point, we're going to have to find some value in the wide receiver spots. I think there is a lot of value we can find, though, because if Evans is facing off against Philly in round 1, then Evans is going to have a really good matchup. He might break the first round slate. And I wouldn't mind stacking him with Baker either, with that matchup that projecting Tampa to have against Philly. That would get us through round 1 with our quarterback. And then, we sacrifice, Evans and Baker for round 2, just because, obviously we think that, Philly's going to be the team to advance. We still got Puka.
What if Tampa advances?
Yeah. Still got Puka too. So maybe we grab Puka on that next round, Bob.
If Puka's there, I'd take Puka.
Yeah,
for sure.
Makes sense. That would give us at least Cooper and Puka for our wide receivers. And if we drafted them, I think it'd make a lot of sense to draft Stafford as our quarterback to help us get through that round 1. Because if we're envisioning them putting up a lot of wide receiver points, then obviously, we can get that correlation with Stafford there. Looking at Puka as my next guy in my queue, his ADP is 35. We're at pick 40. So there's a chance that he gets taken here, at which point I think we just pivot to Mike Evans. And then we have Beckham lurking there too.
I might just prefer Evans over Puka.
You think you like Evans over Puka? Let's see. The one thing that
Philly, Tampa.
The one thing that I say, because I agree with you there, but as far as with playoff best ball drafting, we want to try to draft as much correlation as we can, with trying to stack teams and stuff, because we're trying to advance to the next round.
Get Puka. Then.
Okay. Let's grab Puka. He's a good value there, but let's grab Evans on that next round though, because he's at the ADP of 48, and our next pick is 45. Someone just grab Beckham.
We have Stafford if you want the correlation, though.
Yeah, Stafford too. Yep. He's at
I think I'd prefer I like your first round of Stafford.
Over Evans?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's your call. I think it's a good point about the correlation.
Yeah. So with Stafford, his ADP is 50. I think with us being the only guys that own that wide receiver core or that Rams stack in general,
that's a good point.
You think he falls to us?
Take Evans.
Let's grab Evans here.
Take Evans, yeah.
Yep. Perfect. So right now we're looking at Brock, Raheem Mostert, and Kyron Williams as our running backs, which is pretty strong. We got Debo, Cooper, Puka, and Evans, in addition to Isaiah Likely. So we have a mini stack of San Francisco, Baltimore. I think after we draft Stafford, if he falls to us, I think we want to get a running back on one of those San Francisco or Baltimore teams. So, I think Justice Hill is a good option now that Keaton Mitchell is injured. So maybe we put him in the queue. Bob, what do you think of Justice Hill?
Yeah, I like the Hill call.
Okay, let's see if he's still available. Oh, he's not even available. I guess his ADP is 44 now, so he's been shooting up. We
Just
could
take the
get
Stafford.
okay. Yep, Stafford for sure. Yep. Round 10, maybe we draft Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah, I like that.
They give us like a running back presence in that Super Bowl game. So yeah, Stafford is about to fall to us. So we just grabbed Stafford. So now we got Stafford as our quarterback. We got for round 1 and hopefully round 2 and beyond. Like hopefully he advances pretty far. If the Rams stack advances to the Super Bowl, we're set up because we got Stafford, Williams, Cooper, and Puka. And then we're hoping that at that point it's Baltimore versus the Rams because we got Isaiah Likely too. So
Yep.
I'm going to grab Elijah Mitchell here. Someone else already grabbed him. Demarcus Robinson would give us another Ram in that stack. What do you think there, Bob? We also have options of like ETN and guys like that, but I think Robinson. What do you think, Bob?
Yeah, I like DeMarcus.
Okay.
I
So
like that we have a full squad pretty much with the Rams. Like that's how I think you really want to approach this is getting pretty much a full team and then trying to figure out where maybe just get lucky and the Rams beat San Fran or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Like even if it's like if it ends up being the Rams, I don't think it could end up being them in the actual final. Let me look at my my situation here. The Rams likely to face San Francisco in the divisional round if the Rams advance. So we're hoping at that point that they pull the spoiler and they beat San Francisco. That way we'd have Matthew Stafford, Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and Robinson advancing. The only AFC presence that we have is Isaiah Likely. So we're hoping at that point for a Rams Baltimore Super Bowl. And generally when you're building teams like this, when you pick your main team that you want to get to the Super Bowl. So like if we were committed on the Rams, then we would want to the spots where we couldn't draft additional Rams. That would be us wanting to draft like AFC teams that we think that could get far in the playoffs. So guys like the Browns or something like that. Like if the Browns at good value were able to upset and get pretty far in the playoffs, we'd be set up for a potential Browns Rams Super Bowl or something like that, or like a 49ers Browns Super Bowl, something like that. But these things are fun to do. It's fun to do these different combos and try to project, like Bob and I were doing in the beginning of the show, which teams that we think can advance pretty far into the playoffs. I'll take a quick look at the team here. Just to show the audience, you see Purdy and Stafford. The thinking there was we drafted Purdy early, so we needed a round 1 quarterback. Stafford is set up with a pretty good matchup against Detroit in round 1, and that also sets up the entire team basically because that game has shootout potential. And we got Kyron Williams, we got Kupp, we got Puka Nacua, and Demarcus Robinson, and we actually do have another representation for an AFC team. So if we got Rams Miami, we'd have Mostert there too, and we'd have a complete team there too. So we have a complete team if it's Rams, Miami, or if it's Rams Baltimore. So we're set up pretty good to have a full team going into the Super Bowl. And when I say full team, I mean we need 1 quarterback, we need 1 running back, and we need 2 wide receiver tight ends, and then we need 1 flex position. So those are the positions. And right here, if it was the Miami versus Rams, we'd have our quarterback in Matthew Stafford. We'd have our running back in Mostert and Kyron Williams. We'd have our receivers in Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and Demarcus Robinson. So we'd be set up with a couple flex players in addition to like our requirements for a full lineup So we'd be in really good shape if it ends up being Miami versus the Rams, and a similar situation if it ends up being the Rams versus Baltimore, because we sub in Isaiah Likely in that extra flex spot instead of Mostert. So I think that's a good draft, man. I think that's a good draft when you're able to get that many players, and we got a decent amount of them at value too, with Puka, grabbing him at the 40 spot, grabbing grabbing Stafford at 52. That's kind of a value, and getting San Francisco guys in general is tough to do. If San Francisco makes it to the Super Bowl, we got Purdy stacked with Debo, and then we're hoping that it's either Baltimore or Miami.
I like this team a lot.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good, man. I think we did a pretty good draft there, and honestly, like Bob, that's what a lot of my teams look like, because I've been drafting a lot of Rams, I've been drafting a lot of Dolphins, and then San Francisco I've been drafting a lot of. I don't have enough Baltimore, but I was kind of waiting until like the final week to grab Baltimore, because they seem like a lock, and I wanted to kind of capitalize on the uncertainty a little bit. But now I'm going to focus more on getting some Baltimore exposure. Bob, do you want to?
It's fun to do. I really got one of these. So.
Yeah. Do you want to share your screen and maybe do a draft?
They can't find my location for whatever reason. So
location. Gotcha.
I don't know why that is.
Yeah, no worries.
They still don't have my location. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, it was good having you on, Bob. Good getting your insight on this stuff, because I think you and I are usually in sync with this kind of stuff, and we're pretty much in sync except for the Buffalo part. But yeah, I think
I play one of these every year. So
yeah.
See, there's a site that does something similar to this that I've been doing for like the last 10 years. Usually you just want to stack one side and hope you get a majority of players both in the championship. So I feel like it's the similar game style. So
is that on
I'm going to try to play a few of these now that we kind of got my feet wet here.
Oh yeah.
Dude, no, it's not. It's just like one of like the old fantasy sites that, yeah.
Gotcha.
This is like they've had this game for like 10 years. I forget what it's on.
Gotcha. This is the
it's not like
game.
It's like you can just pick your players. It's not a draft.
Gotcha. Yeah, this is the perfect game for you, Bob, because I know you're big on strategy.
Really good format.
Yeah. I think you'll love playing these best ball drafts, and like I said,
for sure.
Next week when we have like a little bit more clarity on the teams that are going to advance, maybe I get you on here again. We can mess around and get a draft on. But good having you on, brother.
Cool. No, yeah, I want to make sure I'll be able to draft the next one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all good.
I mean, Simon, as always.
Yeah, absolutely. Good having you on. And make sure to hit the like button. Looking for about 15 likes to put out a shorter video later on. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Got these shows popping up all the time. You can sign up for alerts so you know when they're getting posted. And make sure to watch over the weekend on Saturday. Going to be doing a breakdown of each of those Saturday games with a game script episode. And if you watched last week, we had Bo Melton, very high on Bo Melton. So, you probably made some money if you watched last week. And then on top of that, obviously got all the playoff best ball stuff going on. Sign up for an Underdog account using the promo code SEEK, SEEK, and hit me up on Twitter once you do that. It's going to be a $100 match, up to a $100 match on your first deposit from Underdog. And hit me up on Twitter, direct message me, and let me know that you signed up, and I'll hook you up with my playoff best ball rankings. And Bob, where can they find you, and what do you have going on, man?
Yeah, Roto Grinders got tournament takes on Saturday morning. Probably be up Saturday afternoon talking the Week 18 slate. Yeah, excited to kind of hop on and basically go on that show. And then we have the flagship on Sunday morning for Roto Grinders. I'm on that as well. So, yeah.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, great seeing you having all the success at Roto Grinders, but also with the DFS lately, especially that MLB run that you went on, and then you've been hot in NFL recently too. So it's always good to see that with you, Bob.
No, thank you, Simon. I appreciate it.
Cool, man. All right, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll be putting up a new show shortly. So we'll see you soon. Thank you.